Okay, there we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Carla Fonseca.
Hi, Leroy. How's it?
How are you, sister?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Glad to have you. Thank you for taking time out. I know you are busy and newly married. So congratulations. Hey.
Thanks so much. Thank
I
you.
saw you bragging about your husband the other day to say he's my husband is doing what was this?
Disney animation.
For Disney. What's your husband doing? I'm like, come on, Carla. Right? Please don't put us under pressure like that, eh?
Yeah, I know we have to brag sometimes, especially, I guess it makes me really proud, the hard work. When the hard work pays off, it's good to celebrate. Not to brag, but to celebrate.
But you were bragging, and I was like, my wife shouldn't. Our wife listens to these things because then they look at us like,
Oh,
what are you
let's not
doing?
let's not start the interview like this, like I'm a bragger.
No, but well done on your success, and yeah, man. So we proud of you. I watch your things. I wanted to come to one of your show once, but then COVID hit, and then it was cancelled, and
Yes.
stuff. So we got a few people logging on.
I got
Happy birthday, by the way. I only saw that this morning. Sorry, I've been chatting to you for 2 days, and it was your birthday, and I didn't know. So
fine.
happy
We have
birthday.
birth weeks.
Hey,
We have birth weeks.
birth weeks.
Actually, yeah, my mother-in-law says that we have to celebrate our lives every day, and I guess the birthday is it's the day that everybody sends all the messages and everything. But I agree that every day, gotta.
Yeah, but remember, Kaikal, you're not that young anymore. You can't have birth weeks. You can't. You can't go on like in your 20. How old are you now?
I'm 32.
32, yeah, it's not the same even at 22, eh? Birth, those long days.
Big facts.
Things change.
But I wouldn't want to be 22, not even if you said it to me.
But welcome, guys. So welcome. We got a couple of people logging on now. So welcome to the Lava Show. This is where we have conversations with entrepreneurs that inspire and experts to admire. And today we've got a director, a performance artist, a musician. She's performed in over 25 countries. If I have to name them, we'll be here for the full hour. So I'm not going to name all those countries. I went through them. Yeah, man, she's doing amazing things, eh? Talented in many different areas. And today we want to talk about the arts and entertainment industry, which I know you guys are excited about. I am. She's gonna tell us the back end, what's the secrets, the in and outs, the do's and don'ts, because I'm excited and I'm curious. So I've got a few questions here for you, Carla. So welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And we got a couple of people. So guys, if you got any questions as we go along or anything that you want to ask Carla, and you know what? Ever since I've met you, I can't say Carla anymore to anyone who's named Carla. I call them all Carla.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, you Carla, no Carla. I'm like, okay, all right. So where do we start? Let's see. Where do we start? Maybe tell us where you start. How did you get into? Because back when we were still chilling back in our early 20s or wherever, we knew you were studying and you were studying in Cape Town, and we also weren't 100% sure what.
I know. For sure.
Maybe take us through the journey from your studying to how you got into the industry and where you started for someone who's listening here.
Sure. Look, I studied theatre and performance at the University of Cape Town. My passion has always been storytelling. From a young age, I was always interested. Maybe I didn't tell you too many stories, but really, I love theatre, and I absolutely love theatre and film. And so I was fortunate enough to go and study. And I graduated in 2010. And from there, it was a massive, massive shock, because I guess in university, which I hope that they figure out some kind of change, they don't really teach you the business side of things, or the patience, or the waiting, the long periods of waiting for somebody to say yes, the queues that you have to stand in to audition for, and the the thousands, many applications for funding that you have to suddenly know how to do. They don't teach you that. They just teach you the skill. And so when I graduated, it was just, silence for a long time. And I decided that I'm not going to wait for people to say yes. I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to create my own shows. I'm going to act in my own plays. I'm going to write my plays and direct them, and find ways to stage them in different spaces, whether they be in theaters or in the street. And fortunately, I have a great network from the university. I managed to gather a great network of directors and actors as well, who I could say, come and let's just do this. Yeah, are you working this month? Geez, I haven't had a job in 5 months. Like, I'm not coping. I'm living on, love and fresh air. So really,
just to stop you, is there long periods for most actors, or periods between jobs, or is it?
Look, I think
what's the average time between what? Look, you do many things, but for the average actor.
Yeah, for the average actor, I'd say you can either be lucky and land with your bum in the butter and walk out of university and just get jobs after jobs after jobs. And it depends on what they're looking for. If you're what they're looking for at the time, they definitely didn't want what I was at the time. And a lot of it was for commercials, for, like different adverts. And I think I was too young and I didn't have the look that they wanted. So you can either get job after job, or you can be jobless for 4 years. It really depends. And for me, I was in Cape Town and not working at all. And I just suddenly decided, hey, let me go back to Joburg. I know that Joburg, the hustle is stronger. The money moves faster, and you can really just be independent and make your own stuff. And that's what I did. I moved to Joburg, and within a month of living in Joburg, I had 2 jobs, which was more than I had in 1 year in Cape Town. So I realized that the move was good. Yeah, and so I was doing plays, writing and directing and staging and acting in shows here in Joburg, and took some shows abroad as well. But I'm not restricted. I'm not limited to theater alone, because, like COVID proves, sometimes spaces are going to be shut down. Sometimes the opportunity to stage a play is not going to be available. So I opened myself up to different forms of art that I'm interested in, including filmmaking and including music. Yeah.
And the music part of it, that was interesting. When I saw you singing, I told Alistair and Donovan, I said, "Hey, where? And sing."
Yeah.
We also didn't know it.
My gosh, yeah, some secrets kept, I guess.
So well done. You kept that one away for a while.
I never knew that I was, I was always passionate about music. We were always passionate about music, hanging out together, always listening to good music. And one day I staged a play, and Spook My Tambo came to watch the show. And in the show I sang, and I wrote scripts, and I wrote the script, so he knew that I was an able writer and singer. And then he said to me, listen, and I mean, I always admired him. I admired his music from 10 years before then.
Yeah.
And he said to me, listen, don't you just want to come into studio and let's just experiment with music? He wanted to do lusophone. He wanted to do music that can connect the lusophone countries in Africa. And so because I speak Portuguese, it worked, and we went into studio. And I thought we were just playing around, you know. And then about 2 months later, he called me and he said, so what's the name of our group? What? He said, yeah, we're going to release. And we released, and yeah, the rest is history. We just got international bookings, toured Europe, toured Asia. It was really amazing. And that was, yeah, it was just a bold step. I put theater aside, I put, you know, film aside, and I just went for it.
That's good. By the way, spook is it Matambo?
Matambo, yes.
Matambo, this is a husband, Ntato Mohata. All right. Yes. So then he had other plans as well, not just the group. Yeah. But tell me, now in South Africa with Batuk, we didn't really know about Batuk. Obviously, we know you. We're on your social media, and right, we know the same people, so you hear about it. But Batuk, we didn't know. But then we saw you internationally. You big. You at stadiums. It's full. These venues are packed to capacity. People are going wild. But in South Africa, we weren't really aware of Batuk and the music.
Yes.
How did that happen? How did it go international? But in South Africa, or maybe let me say myself.
No, you're completely right. You're completely right. South Africa, it was Tololo, you know. So even before Batuk, Spook already had global, his positioning globally, and was already touring, you know, in Europe and in America, was touring all over the world. And so naturally, when he had a new band, those people were interested in what's this new sound. But then we established ourselves separately from you know, his music, because he was releasing at the same time. So we had different shows. But I think that
he's not in the band.
He is. He's the producer.
He's the producer. Okay.
Yes, very much in the band. And you know, sometimes I think that we like what is outside of ourselves sometimes, and I don't know, it's like self-sabotage really. But well, from my experience, South Africans do generally enjoy the musicians that come out of this country, but are very often looking to outside, looking at what's playing outside, you know. And there's a lot of corruption as well. I'm going to speak about it in terms of radio play, you know, whereas in France or in Shanghai, whatever, people are genuinely interested and they'll play your music, and they don't want you to pay the manager of Metro FM or wherever for you to be able to play your music. And I think the minute there is, you know, corruption involved, then it's not about the music, and we're not interested in bribing.
It's not about talent anymore as well, eh?
It's not. Yeah, you know, in different countries, you're either liked or you're not. And we've got quite a number of people who support us here, who listen to us, who have booked us before. But yeah, it just so happened that way. And, you know, I'm not sour about it, because I managed to travel the world in the process, and there is love from India, from wherever, and obviously you want love from home, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. But now, so you saying that that because of that, it's not necessarily the most talented people that get ahead. It's who you know potentially, and maybe how much you pay as well. Because my understanding is this. Now, obviously, what we have we watch American TV, we watch all these shows, we listen to their music, and what we see, and in South Africa too, my view is that the art and entertainment industry is a closed industry, right?
Yeah.
There's a few powers that control most of it. Like let's say DSTV,
Yeah.
you need to get on, or you need to get onto SABC. Um, and in music, you obviously have your different Sonys and I don't know whoever, I don't know all of them, right? And these
Yeah.
people control who gets
Play
in or who gets out, and how, maybe explain to us how that works. Well,
but what I think is important to know, and I think this is like the crux of our conversation, is that being an artist, you have to know that you are an artist, but you have to be a business person. And you know, being talented is probably like 10% of 10% of what is required, because somebody is, because hard work. Okay, so if 10% is talent, you know, 40% is hard work, and that 40% overpowers the 10%. So somebody who's not talented but is really hardworking, and knows how to make connections, knows that they have, that the actual admin of your craft, you spend a lot more time doing the administration part, and if you forget that, then then it's just passion, and you won't really like make profit from it, really.
Make a success out of it, and make it a career.
Exactly.
Where you can make a living out of it. That's interesting, because we just see the glamour, we just see the front end.
Yes.
We don't see how these things are put together. How do you finance it like you would finance a property deal? So maybe give us. Let's say I want to start a show, the Leroy Slava show, with Carla Fonseca, and now we're gonna start a show. Where do I start? Do I start with a writer, producer, and then get actors, put it together, try to sell it to some of these media houses? Or how would someone go about putting together, let's just say a
show, like
movie, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, I guess I'm in the process of that now, where I've written a feature film, and I'd been writing it for a very long time, years.
How long?
And it finally got to the stage. Sorry?
How long?
I can say that I have been thinking about it for the last 8 years, writing it in drips and drabs, writing new drafts maybe once a year. And then over the last year, COVID has allowed me the time to really focus. And I've been writing, I can say, almost every day for the last year. Yeah. So what I had to do was write this thing and then go, okay, now I have to get people to read it and believe in it. You know, schedule meetings. But you also don't want your script to fly around, because people also steal ideas. So I had to register my script with the Writers Guild to protect myself as writer. And then I approached producers, people who actually do the financial part of it, you know, people who are going to find the money to make this thing, people who will produce the film. And then
how do they know how much they need? So now you've written the script, Carla. You take it to a producer, a producer looks at it, he says, okay, it's a good story. Then how do you come up with to say, okay, this is going to cost $1 million, 2 million, or?
So the producers have the team, and there are people who do this professionally and can see how many locations there are, how many actors there are. So different locations will need, to be paid. How many actors will need to be paid? How many days will be? How many days on average will they be shooting? How many hours per day? How many cameramen? All these, the crew. What time period is it set in? Is it set in the 1940s? Does that mean that all the cars have to be vintage? Does that add to the cost, or is it shot right now? So we can use these cars that are cheaper and easily, much more easily accessible. There are all these small little things, the catering, that they have to put together and figure out the finances of the film.
Salaries, all the actors and
exactly, and then they will say, okay, we can do this like really cheap. We can do this for 3 million, but if we want to really make it this epic film with great detail and pay people well, because I stress this, I really believe that people should be paid well in this industry. We're very often treated like skivvies, but we literally without arts and culture, I think countries are irrelevant if they don't treat artists, because we are the substance of the country, I believe. That's one way of doing it. But my first feature film, we literally, Ntato and I, we wrote the script, and then we approached Goethe Institute, and we said, hey, we want to shoot this film, but we want to shoot it in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is a country in East Africa. And
why Burkina Faso? Why do you want to shoot it there?
So it's the cinema capital.
You're taking up the costs here.
Yeah, I know. It's the cinema capital of Africa.
Yes.
Yes. And I've been there. So every 2 years there's a festival called FESPACO, which is the Pan-African Film Festival. And all the most epic African films there take part in this festival. It's massive, and I was fortunate enough to go I think I went twice to attend this festival, and my mind was blown. They have more cinemas than churches, more cinemas than, it's just cinemas everywhere.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and the people are kind of like, you're born with this this natural love for cinema and stories, and it's African stories. It's not the stories that we're fed from, like when we were growing up, we watched a lot of Chinese or American or Japanese, cinema. But it's their stories, which I really loved, and so we decided we want to go and make this film there. And because it was a sponsorship from Goethe Institute, they gave us a certain amount of money, and that was the money that we had to work with. And then, so that changes things, because now okay, geez, we only have this much, which was really not a lot, including international flights, including accommodation, including paying people and everything. Ntato and I didn't take a cut from it. We actually added on top because the budget was really low. Yeah. But we went and we shot it, and it took us 2 years to edit it because you have to pay an editor, but we decided to teach ourselves how to edit. So now we're editors professionally. We do it as a service as well, because we spend teaching ourselves how to do it. And I think that's what I encourage artists to do, is build your skill, build your skill so that you are not dependent on people to execute your vision. Be the writer, be the director, be the producer, be the editor, and I'm not saying jack of all trades. Like, you can master all of them. You can really spend time and develop the skills, learn, expand your knowledge, and build the business of it. As a result, sorry, I'm talking a lot now.
No. Go for it. Go for it. I'm learning. It's interesting.
As a result, Tata and I registered our production company, Teka. And Teka is a music production company, film production company, and arts production company. So we produce all the arts that we all the theater, all the fine arts that we make, as well as music and film. And then a publishing company which licenses those products. So, for example, in the music section of our company, we have our catalog of all the music that we've made together and all the music that we still make but don't necessarily release. And then we approach different. We have a co-publishing company who runs our administration. They're based in Paris. They run our administration and they take a 10% of whatever we make. And so they approach all, like different brands.
And they take it international, basically.
Yes, globally. And so we can get, our music licensed on films, series, adverts, Coca-Cola ads, H&M ads, whatever it may be. And so this publishing company, we've already established what our assets are. And now we know that we're not just going to sit there and just have people listen to our music and receive that 1 cent that we get off of each play. We can actually sell the product and have them play, because there's music everywhere. There's music in all ads, on radio, and I mean, not on films, on series. So that publishing company is, so essentially it's to build the business behind the arts, not just be an artist and enjoy. I mean, that's, passion, it's there, but really in order to make yourself happy and not resent your art, you have to build a sustainable way of running.
That sounds like hard work, eh? So that sounds like really building. That's why you're saying the talent is 10%. Because that sounds like hard work, eh? And I think if you don't think like you and Spook, and you, like you say, you stand in the queues for the auditions, and that's all that you have is you just go and you stand for auditions and maybe movies, whatever it is, adverts, and you don't get it, you can get discouraged and quit.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Right? So, and I think, Leroy, that's why it's good to establish networks like this platform, for example. We are networking, and I know, I know this aspect of Leroy's business, and perhaps I can go to him and ask him, how can I advance my skill? How can I have this idea? How can you help me execute this? And in the industry, you have to create those relationships. Those relationships with different institutions. Those relationships with different people in the field, and so when you're feeling discouraged, to go and say to somebody, listen, man, I want, let's create something, let's do something, let's stage something. I have 10 Rand. What do you have?
So Carla, you said that you took it to Gina Capital. So how would you fund a movie? Where do I go to fund a movie? For a property, I go to the banks, and then I need equity. I'll go to investors, which you are one of my investors now. But where would you go? Where do you? I've got this now. I've got the script. I've got the producer. They're telling me I need 10 million. This is what we're gonna need. We know. Where do I go?
There's so many places you can go. Like in South Africa, there are different film what do you call it? Foundations that actually their purpose is to fund. So, like the NFVF, National Film and Video Foundation, for example, they're called NFVF.
NFV. Maybe, yeah, whoever, guys. We probably have people listening who are, or parents,
Yes.
or people that are in the arts and entertainment or want to get into it. NFVF.
Yes.
Guys, that's funding.
Yes, and you can apply and they can give you money to further develop it before actually, or production money, or to actually make it. But you have to try and look through various different sources. They also, like Gauteng also has a film, a film. I can't find the word now. What do they call it? Like just going to say foundation as well, but they have in different provinces. Then they also international, international companies or foundations that you can also approach, and if they believe in your concept, then they can potentially give you a certain amount. But now we also have streaming, so you can approach Netflix, Showmax, Mnet, different, Mzansi Magic. There are a whole lot of avenues. It's a lot more difficult to get there because you'll need the contacts, but there are ways of actually applying online. There are every month there's a new application for film funding or film development, and it's just Google. It's just to Google.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And now you funded it to 10 million, whatever it is. Now to get your money back, because now when you fund it, it's obviously, I guess it's like a loan which you have to pay back the loan, right? Because now you need to sell it. Do you sell it to Netflix? Do you sell it to DSTV? I'm not sure if SABC still buys things.
So they don't. It doesn't work like a loan. It doesn't function as a loan. If they invest in your if NFVF invests, then it doesn't function as a loan. They just come on board as a partner, as like kind of executive producer, but you don't actually pay them back. It depends on what your agreement is, but it's never that you pay them back. Potentially, they could have a percentage in like future licensing. So if you do sell it to Netflix or whatever, but I think NFVF doesn't do that. But for example, this film that Ntato and I did where the Goethe Institute funded us. We didn't have to pay them back. The Goethe, Goethe, Goethe Institute.
What's the film's name? What's the film's name?
The film. Burkinabe.
Burkinabe.
Yeah.
I saw it on Google. I just didn't know how to pronounce it. Burkinabe.
Burkinabe. Yes. So, for example, Burkinabe, we didn't have to pay the Goethe Institute back. For them, it was part of their incentive as, building the arts industry within Africa. And we then had the full rights to the film. And so we have licensed it to we actually licensed it back to the Goethe Institute, where they then had to pay us in order to film because we had all the rights. So they had to buy it from us again. But then the different
and they bought it back.
Just to screen for a certain period of time. Different festivals, for example, we were approached by a festival in Amsterdam now who asked us to screen the film, and we told them what the fee will be for the film. And this is a film that we released in 2018, and it's still bringing back money in different ways of licensing. And some universities want to license it just as content for, first-time African filmmakers, etc.
So if I get it, Carla, a film that you, because it seems like a film takes a really long time to make, right? If you write a script for 8 years or 2 years or whatever long it is, put that together, get the funding for another year, put it together. Now you release it, but if the film is a good film and you get it out well, that film can pay you for the rest of your life. It could be recurring income for your kids, children's children, basically.
Definitely inheritance.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Because I've heard once I was listening to I don't know, to Damien Dash, and he was talking about he's making films and he was talking about residual income, but I didn't understand how these films keeps bringing in money for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And that's why, as an artist, if you have a product, if you're a musician and you have music or whatever, you have to set up your will. You have to know, what that there are, money will continue to come in.
Long after you're gone.
Long after. So, and that's how a lot of people get exploited as well. Either if they don't have the rights, or if people just don't know that the money is being chowed somewhere, Yeah.
But now you say university doesn't teach you this, so this is something you need to get in the ground and search for this information yourself.
Look, I graduated over 10 years ago, so I'm not sure how that has changed. But I've heard that people are still complaining about them not teaching, the business side of things. So I hope that it's something that they will introduce, because honestly, I went to university, and then I went to the University of Hard Knocks as well, to just learn and teach and fall, lose money.
Cry but well done, and I think this is actually an eye opener for a lot of people.
Thank you.
I think this is good. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for sharing openly. Now, COVID. I never used to watch series because I could never commit to watching 16 seasons of something. It's just too long. It must start and it must end.
Yes.
I don't want to watch it forever. But anyway, in lockdown, I started watching. I watched Pablo Escobar, and then I watched on Netflix, and I watched Michael Jordan's The Last Dance, which I enjoyed. And was that a good time for you guys to get out your stuff? Because we're all sitting in front of our TVs now. We all streaming. We all watching. We had nothing else to do.
Well, I think for the major streaming platforms like Netflix and so on, HBO, you had to be working before the pandemic in order to have your
because you had to release it in that time, and no one knew that it's coming.
Because it takes time, Yeah. But there are many other ways. People also were quite innovative, and they made their own series. What do they call it? Web series. So they'd shoot something and put it on YouTube, or as short clips on Instagram. And I think, there was definitely a boom of amazing digital creativity that came out of COVID. People just needing to create and realizing that people are in front of their screens.
Yeah,
they're going to pay to be entertained because they can't be outside. So how can there were a lot of artists, musicians who would stage the shows, even in their house, who would stage these shows. Next thing, there's a brand behind them. Puma will go behind them and say, hey, okay, let's do this once a month or every 2 weeks. And as long as we can have our logo, they will put you in the outfit, we'll pay you for it, do the performance. Because now all brands want their logos as well, because everybody's here. So, COVID knocked a lot of us really hard. I think as artists, it's still really the difference is massive. I used to spend 9 months of the year abroad, and the last 2 years, you know, that income of being away was just removed completely. So then, obviously, you know, the great thing about being having different
multiple streams of income,
multiple streams, is that okay? Then you can zone in and focus on this thing that perhaps you neglected while you're on tour or whatever. But for some people, that's not available, or that hasn't been set up. So it was difficult, but to the creative ones, I take my hat off, because they really seize the opportunity.
So that's why. So I think even in this, you need multiple streams of income, as you said. Okay? So you got it's the music, it's the directing. By the way, producer versus director, what's the difference? Producer, what does the producer do? What does the director do? This is just, I just want to, never been 100%.
Let me see. So it's like, okay, so the director directs the film. He it's like he manages everything, right? He directs. He says, okay, you're gonna walk here, you're gonna do this. He directs, quite literally directs, moves things and makes things happen. The producer is the person who makes the production happen, the show happen. So he puts everything.
He's the project manager. The producer's the project manager.
Project manager, you could say, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So, and social media, how has this changed? Has it improved your industry, or has it? I think it must have, because firstly, you just had to go to a few people. Now you can get everything out. I can start a show, call it the Leroy Slava Show, and just get out there and maybe act or sing or whatever I want to do today.
And as much as we don't want to admit it, we love human contact, you know, which is why it's been really difficult during this COVID period. People love human contact. They want to be spoken to. They want to speak. They want to be heard. And they want to feel like they know, like people know them, or they have access to people. Even though they might say, I'm introverted, I'm not interested, whatever. But no, it's a natural, you're born with it. It's a natural instinct to want connection. And one thing that it's done for artists is to connect with their audience. So the audience isn't just like Sade, for example, you know, one of the most incredible musicians of all time. Nobody has access to her. It's just her music, her sound. There are no interviews, nothing. And I mean, that is amazing. I also really admire and love that. But now you have, you know, I love Wizkid, for example. And the fact that I can hear him talk and hear him play the sample of a track that he's going to release soon, or whatever, it makes me feel like I have access to this musician that I really like. And so it breaks down so many walls. So it's definitely changed a lot for the industry.
I think it's to get it out there, but the live performance, second the live, as you say, people need people, man. I know we were struggling, we were struggling in lockdown. I would just go and want to buy something or just get out.
Exactly.
This technical stuff, it's good, it's fun, we can talk, it's easy. I mean, now it's you in your house, it's cheap as well.
Yes.
But it's just not, you can't do this forever. We're going to have to get back to some, obviously when things are safe. And
of course.
And that's where most artists make their money, as well as with the live, as you said, with the live performances.
Yes, absolutely. Live performances do pay well. And but social media, I think we've now reached a new level, and some people will never go and watch a live show again. They just got too comfortable to just watch it on screen, you know. But
interesting times,
Very.
We are born in these times.
Yeah, but we have
thousands of years we born in.
I know. But maybe we are the ones who can, you know, we are the ones who can adapt. I mean, humans always find ways to adapt, and we just have to refigure, not sulk, just get with the program and
move on.
Yeah.
Well, on that, there's a scripture that says in the Bible, now I'm paraphrasing because I don't know where it is and I can't remember the exact words, but it says that God knew where you are supposed to be born, when you're supposed to be born, where you're supposed to be born, and in which family you're supposed to be born. So where you are and where you were born and wherever you are right now, that's exactly, you were created in that time, in that place, because there's something that you need to do
Absolutely.
in that time, and there's a
Absolutely.
purpose to touch people's lives.
Completely. I completely agree. And I definitely believe that 100%.
So yeah, so we can make it. So maybe tell us before we close it off. You've given us so much value. Given us, is there something that you think that people, let's say someone young is listening, they're going to university or they're studying to be an artist or singer or whatever it is, or producer or director, or maybe parents are listening and they say, listen, now let me tell my child, is there something that you want to, maybe that we haven't touched on, maybe a bit of advice that you want to give them?
Yes. More and more I'm hearing of younger people wanting to be artists. And it gives me chills sometimes. I'm like, oh, on the one hand, it's really positive. It's really amazing because it means that we are free, right? Compared to our parents who had to do specific things and couldn't just dream about the arts. Like, what? Are you out of your mind? How will you survive?
Space. What are you going to do?
Exactly. It's like my gran asked me, she said, what are you going to study at university? You're going to study drama. It's like, what do you think you're going to do with that? And now she's proud. Now she's, but it was just unfathomable. And I get the chills because I think that there's this idea, and it's social media and it's TV that does this, that makes it seem like it's easy, that makes it seem like everybody can make it. And I'm always hesitant to honestly encourage people to go into the arts. My first instinct is to say, if you have the passion, you cannot run away from it. If it's God's purpose in your life, if God has put that purpose in your life, you will not escape it. It will always be a part of you. Mm-hmm. But I would advise that you first establish a foundation that will be able to
sustain you.
And
you're talking about sustain financially?
Financially, absolutely. And remove unnecessary anxiety, because you have to be able to, I even wish that I had that, so that I didn't have to learn or lose so much before realizing, okay, this is where I'm at, this is what I need to do. So I would say have a business foundation, and then study or apply to study or learn online, teach yourself. There's so many ways of, if you don't have the finances, you can teach yourself. There's so many master classes, ways to learn, contacting people saying, listen, can I just come and sit in and watch you direct something or whatever, But I would say that people need to get out of this mind space of wanting to be famous, wanting to be in the limelight, wanting to be an artist, but not really having the passion, just thinking that it's easy, that it's, kind of, you can relax doing.
Looks cool. Yeah, I'm gonna be at pools in Camps Bay, drinking champagne, or in Santa. That's what we see. That's what we see.
That's what they show you, right? That's what we show you. But yeah, sure, I can also start an Instagram page of where I show you the difficulty, but nobody really wants to see that. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. You have to have tough skin, and passion. Be a dreamer. You can absolutely be anything and everything that you put your mind to, and that your heart desires. But just know that it is a lot of hard work. Yeah. And if you have a foundation, it's just a safer foundation underneath that before.
So you're saying it would be nice to have a side hustle while you're working on your main dream.
Yes.
So while you're working on maybe let's say making movies and it takes you a couple of years to, but here you have something, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying you have
Yes.
whatever it is, something that you're selling, something that you're doing. Maybe you're working or you got a business running, and that might not be your main passion, but that will help you follow these dreams.
It will reduce anxiety. It will also reduce resentment. That, you know, resentment towards this thing that you love so much, that you're so passionate about, but that takes a lot of time before it will give you back what you give it.
Mm-hmm.
So side hustle is definitely a good thing, just to create a balance. So
thanks for being open, because it's actually the first time that I'm hearing. I'm not sure about other people how much work it takes, and the back end of this. I actually don't know if I wanted to be an artist. I also wanted to be famous, but now not anymore. Just too much work.
It's overrated.
It's just too much work. I think I'm gonna be fine staying in Boksburg and continue.
You're doing amazing. You're absolutely doing amazing, which is why I just also want to know what you're doing so that I can be part of that.
Yeah, no, praise God. Yeah, we'll share that. We'll meet up in the week. You need to come back and we can show you. But I think like anything else, like everything, that it's passion, it's persistence, it's mistakes,
yes,
it's failure. Even with what we do, it's a lot. It's hard work. We also, it sounds good. It sounds nice. We don't tell you the looking for money and all the
and that it's seasonal. It's seasonal. I always think of this, the Psalms 1 verses 3, that says, also paraphrasing, and you shall be like a tree planted by the side of the river, and your roots. I think your roots will always have access to water, and you will not lack.
On the sides of the rivers, and you will lack no good thing, or
you will lack nothing. Your branches, your leaves will not wither, and you will always have fruit in your season. And I always have to remember that, in your season, and that the seed has to be planted, the seed has to grow, and it takes time. It takes so much time for this tree to grow, and sometimes it can be there for long, and you can think, when am I going to get my fruit? But we have to be patient.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think that's good advice that you share here, because I think we talked about the good things of social media. The bad things is that it has made us so impatient, and we see people with things and we want those things now, but we do not see we just see the photos. As we said, we see the photos in camps when we see this and we see that, but we do not see the work behind them, the time it took. And we all want to be Mark Zuckerberg. We all want to be a billionaire 27, and it's gonna happen.
I mean, Leroy, when I finally make this film, I'm going to say how I started writing this 8 years ago. And I'm glad that I'm at this stage of it, but it takes a long time. And I haven't been writing about it. I haven't been tweeting or Instagramming about it daily, like year 4, still writing,
Writer's block.
Yeah, exactly.
No words. So no, but well done, and thank you for keep going, sister. Let's keep going.
Thank you. Yes, we are. I'm motivated by you as well. Your drive is very motivating. Every time I hear, it's like a new project, and it's very inspiring.
Yeah, no, praise God, glory to God. My pastors, I finished Bible school. I've finished 3-year Bible school, and I don't know, and I forgot all those scriptures. My pastors are gonna say, "Listen, you wasted your time and your money. Yeah, you can't even remember where the scriptures are." But anyway, but thanks, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing. We got Shaquille here. What does Ranko says? How would you react? Let me see. Can you see it on the screen?
Yes. How would you react if you get a call up for an audition for a huge production? You make the audition but get cut off right at the end. Oh man, you see, that's the stuff I'm talking about. It's happened to me before. It happens to a lot of people. I was actually, I'm just giving you an example of when it happened to me recently last year, and I was already cast for this role in an advert, and the rehearsal date set up everything, and when I got there, the guy said to me, "Oh, but geez, we didn't realize that you're not white. We thought that you were white. Didn't realize that you actually colored, and so it's not going to work. We're going to have to redo this." I didn't get paid. It was just, and it's one of those things. If you haven't signed anything, and it's not promised. When you say, he says got cut off right at the end.
I'm not sure if he's still on. Maybe he's talking about himself, but I'm not sure if he's still listening. Ranko, if you're listening, maybe just add something to that question there, just to.
But the thing is, production, they have all the right to cut off whatever. They have all the right to remove a character from the film. They have all the right to, and if they've paid you while you are on the show, then they can do whatever. And also, if they signed a contract, they can also do whatever. That is unfortunately how brutal this industry is, and
that's a lie because your one was a lie, because don't they get photos and they get everything? How the hell they say you're not white when they've seen everything?
It was actually the client, so not the director. The director actually fought for me. So it was the client, who I won't mention, but the client ended up saying, actually, which I just believe, they just changed their mind at some stage. Thanks, Abigail.
Yeah, Abby, Abby. And then, so we don't have any questions, just comments here. Really inspiring. Thanks for your honesty. So, man. Carla? Not Carla.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think I've covered it. Where do we watch?
Burkinabe.
Why do you also give these things difficult names? Burkinabe. What is that?
Because that's how it's pronounced in Burkinabe. In Burkina Faso. Burkinabe means a person from Burkina.
Burkina is the area. Burkinabe.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Now where do we watch it? Where do we listen to your music, Batuk?
Okay, so
where do we find you? Where do we see you?
So Batuk is available. Batuk music is available on all streaming digital music platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Deezer, Bandcamp, all of the music platforms. And on Instagram, we are Batuk is Batuk Music, and on Twitter as well, Batuk Music. And on Facebook as well, Batuk Music. The film isn't available because we're still licensing it. So if we put it up for free, that removes our potential to license the film. So at some stage, we will definitely just say, okay, everybody can have access to it. But yeah, that's about it. And stay tuned.
Send me a WhatsApp with all those places
we
can get get all of your handles, and I can put it in the comment section for them.
Wonderful.
And then they can take it from there. I'm still figuring out how to load these videos onto Instagram, so I've just got it on Facebook and on me. Actually, I haven't been putting the time in. As you say, take the time. You just gave me the advice. I need to figure out these other platforms.
Sometimes you'll be able to, Google downloading, the live video.
Shaquille said he's going to help me, but I'll figure it out too. So, but thanks for coming on, Carla. I appreciate it. Taking time. Keep on going, sister. Well done. We're proud of you.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you.
We're going to share this to the Kasi platforms there to inspire all our young people and our old people.
Yes.
Because you're never too old to start and you're never too old to do it. So don't just think this is for young.
Never.
So thanks so much. I appreciate
Thank
it. God bless you.
Thanks so much.
Stay on. I'm just going to end it.
You too. Ciao.